think he's walking in the door.
No.
No. Okay. Hey, good morning. It's 8 o'clock. We'll call the Redevelopment Commission meeting to order. First point is roll call. Ann McGinnis.
Here.
BJ Deppie. Absent. Paul Buning.
Here.
Josh Prine.
Here.
Richard Wirtz. So we have a quorum. And the next item would be the approval of minutes from the December 17th meeting. Need a motion.
I move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion, and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're going to change the agenda and jump to number 7. The RDC elects officers yearly. We have a president, a vice president, and a secretary. Chris, the secretary is the recording of the minutes, isn't it?
Signature of the minutes, yeah.
Sure.
Yep.
Okay, we need to nominate officers for next year.
I would move to nominate Richard Wirtz for president.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second for president, Richard Wirtz. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Vice president,
I nominate Ann McGinnis for vice
Second.
president.
any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Secretary, I think that's been BJ in the past for reviewing.
It has.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'd make a motion for BJ Deppie.
I'd second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. So we have officers for the 2025. Now we'll come back to old business. No, excuse me, the approval of claims. And Krista mailed those out separately. The total of the three is 1.2 million. We need to discuss those.
Not unless anyone has any questions.
Questions on it? Okay. Need a motion to approve the claims submitted.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Is there any old business? Should that, is will be brought up under that? Okay. Is there any old business? Okay. Move on to new business. We have a lot of resolutions to take care of today. Some of it is just housekeeping. First, we need to approve Resolution 2025-01, $35,000 for the utilities and maintenance expense for 2025.
Hold on, technically, all of these were noticed for public hearing, so you can do the public hearing for all of them at once, but technically, you need to open up the floor for
Okay.
public hearing.
So before we vote, we will open it up for comments, public meeting. Seeing no comments, we'll close the public meeting. Do I have to do that for each one?
No,
Okay. And if there are comments as we go down through the resolutions, feel free to jump in. Okay, Resolution 2025-01 for the utilities and maintenance expense. Need a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and to approve and second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Next, Resolution 2025-02, $50,000 for financial, legal, and professional service for 2025. Any questions? Need a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Resolution 2025-03, $1,353,000 for the bond payments relative to the Franklin Redevelopment District Tax Increment Revenue Bonds. Need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution 2025-04, $590,000 for required lease payments related to the Franklin Redevelopment Authority lease rental revenue bonds. That's a US 31 project. Need a motion for approval.
Move to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on, Resolution 2025-05, $1,425,000 for expenses and costs related to the Graham Road and Paul Hand Boulevard roundabout. Need a motion for approval?
If I could just explain this
okay.
one real quickly. So these are the funds that Johnson County and Whiteland has contributed to the project. So these funds have all been received. We just have to appropriate them according to the clerk treasurer's office so that they can be spent. So these are funds we already have on hand. I think it was $650 from the county and $725 from Whiteland, if I recall correctly.
Okay. Any questions? All in favor? Did we approve that?
Not yet.
Oh,
Yeah, we
okay.
say-
We need
had
a
a
motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to Resolution 2025-06, $213,679 for expenses and costs related to the Earlywood Drive and the Graham Road roundabout projects.
So this is another one. These funds have already been received. This was a Ready grant that Dana has worked on. And so these funds have been received and the project is complete. We just needed to appropriate those to pay the final invoices on that one.
Some of this was a carryover from last year.
Yes, yep.
Okay. Need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, G, Resolution 2025-07, $151,148 for expenses and costs related to the 351 East Jefferson Street project. Krista?
So before I forget, this is our first meeting, I believe, where we are live streaming to YouTube. So that's a requirement for all public meetings starting in January of this year. So you will see at the top of the agenda where you can click on stream this meeting. So if you ever wanted to go back and watch a meeting, you could do that. Or if you're, sick and can't be here and you want to watch it live, you can do that as well. So just wanted to mention that before we got any further. So this resolution 2507, this is kind of two different parts. The first part is the original $75,000 that was approved to install a fire suppression system last year. And so there was kind of a timing issue. The invoice didn't get paid to the FDC before the end of the year. And so we didn't encumber it, and so that needed to have a new resolution for this year. So there's not any additional funds there. It was just a timing issue. The additional funds are the $76,148, and that is for the proposal from Ryan Fire Suppression Systems that I sent to you all with a bit of an explanation as well. So when the fire suppression system is being installed, and it is installed and complete, they were looking for the line to connect to the water line and found that it wasn't connected to the Indian American water line. And then doing some further research, discovered there were some real issues with that line, and Ryan Fire Suppression wasn't comfortable using that line. I'm summarizing here, so I'll give you guys a minute here in just a second to kind of answer any questions and fix anything that I said was wrong. So basically, we got a couple estimates, had to get, this took a while. We had to get Indian American to agree to what the connection should be, and was there gonna be a vault, or who was, all the specifications of that. There's a permit involved, all those sorts of things. And so, finally, what we have figured out is the fire suppression system is in. These are the additional upgrades. There'll be some kind of excavating through the sidewalk and down through the right-of-way to connect to the main, which is basically kind of in the alley or the street. So there's some asphalt involved as well and some patching. So that is an additional $76,148. So the total is $151,148. And Matt Westerfield is here. He's been the construction manager for the project, and Katie Harris is here, also the owner of Iozzo's, and Kathy, the chef in charge of things. So I don't know if you guys have anything you want to say, if you'll come up to the podium, and then if anybody has any questions for them.
I want to just mention, this is still the FDC's building.
Yes, yes.
Matt Westerfield, Iozzo's on Jefferson. I guess to re-summarize what she's saying with a little bit more detail. So the pipe that was originally installed when the FDC began that project is called a lead-in. That's what hooks up to the city water line, or not the city water line, but the Indiana American water line, to feed the actual suppression system. That had never been tested, and we were under the assumption it was hooked up. It was not. It actually ends right where the building ends, at the sidewalk at the north side of the building, kind of west of the front door. And once the suppression system was installed, we continued to dig, could not find any record of anything, and finally they found out that it wasn't hooked up. And so where we're at now is the line actually runs under the building, which according to Ryan Fire is a big no-no. It actually runs, the way that building's designed is a brick wall, structural brick wall. And then there's a center foundation that has, we have posts that hold up the columns, I guess, that hold up the second floor. And the fire line, the lead-in right there, runs pretty close to that. And so if that was to ever burst, or leak, which is fairly common, not overall, but for a line that's never been tested, they said it's a common thing that happens. That could wash out the foundation and actually cause the structure to collapse. So in talking to them, we wanted to move forward with not even using that line and hooking up to a brand-new one that they will be running. So that's kind of the gist, I guess. Any questions from anybody?
Just to clarify, the new line will come in
Oh, yeah, I can.
and run through the actual ceiling to the back.
That's correct,
Of the
yeah.
building. So if there's ever any issues or maintenance, there's a drop ceiling that it can be accessed.
That's correct, yeah. So it'll run underground to pretty much where the existing lead-in pipe started that never got hooked up, and then shoot straight into the building about a foot, and then go vertical, and like Krista said, just kind of wrap back around through the building, so.
A question, is this money, we've got them co-mingled, but is this going through the FDC?
Yes.
For the,
Yeah, so it would be the same as
Water.
we approved last year for the original 75,000. It's a grant to the FDC, and then the FDC is paying Ryan Fire Suppression directly. And I've actually already paid them, so. Because it's done and all the things, but, yeah.
we're looking forward to a new restaurant in town too.
We are looking forward to having that new restaurant in town. Very close.
Any questions?
Did they say how long this could take, or are you on the schedule yet, or?
We will be on the schedule once it's signed off and approved, which,
That's kind of what I thought.
yeah. We will be able to kind of work around some things with that. The inside work is a apparently, according to them, only a day or two, but the exterior work, they can't really say for sure, so.
Is there any other stuff that we haven't caught that, that we might know or real?
I think we're nearing the end,
Yeah.
and,
There's not much that we will
yeah.
be able to find that doesn't work in that building.
There's been, I mean, they've made some major changes as far as like the plumbing and the grease. I mean, there's all kinds of structural interior things that have been completed. The electrical service has been
Kitchen's pretty well
upgraded.
done.
Yeah, both sides are pretty close. so.
Yeah, and then the upstairs had to have the, the steel beams, and I think we're hopefully
Yeah.
close enough to know that there's nothing else major. I will knock on wood when I say that, but,
I can't imagine we can
Yeah.
find anything else, so.
so,
It's an old facility, and like I said, we're happy to have you, and it's unfortunate that this didn't get fixed correctly the first time, but we'll have you up and going hopefully soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, if there's no other questions, need a motion to approve Resolution 2025-07 for $151,148 for expenses and costs.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. In question, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you.
Thank you.
Matt, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thanks for-
Appreciate it, and good
thanks for-
luck.
We'll see you in there soon.
Yeah.
thanks for being here this morning.
Okay. Moving on, Resolution 2025-08, $2 million for expenses and costs related to Paul Hand Road Improvement Project.
Okay, so, this is another one that, we actually went through this process last year and approved, but this $2 million, if you recall, through our economic development agreement, this is the $2 million that, Malarkey Roofing has paid to us. So this came through, as a wire transfer, earlier this month. And so those funds are received, and the project has been bid, and the contract has been awarded, so now we just are appropriating the funds, so that once that project starts, we're able to pay that contractor. And that's, Mayor, is that milestone? Yeah. So there was a kind of a big discrepancy in the bids, but there was a lot of dirt that's gonna be needed, and so they were, you can explain better. There was local dirt that Milestone had that O'Mara didn't, and so we got a much better deal on the, on the price of the project.
If I remember right, there was two bidders. It was Milestone and O'Mara Contracting, who both are reputable contractors. I think there was almost a $500,000 difference in the bids. However, Milestone has the dirt, and O'Mara would have had to buy the dirt, so that was the difference. It wasn't that the contractors are less ability to do the job, just one had dirt, one didn't, so that's what the discrepancy was.
Apparently dirt is very
Expensive.
expensive.
Must be real expensive.
Takes a lot of dirt for this project.
Yeah.
Okay, need a motion to approve Resolution 2025-08 for $2 million for expenses and costs related to Paul Hand Road.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on, Resolution 2025-09, $753,678 for expenses and costs related to the extension of Graham Road project.
This is, project is basically complete. I don't know if hopefully you've had a chance to drive on it. It's very nice. Out of this amount, 100,000 is to finish out the project, and 653,678 is in the form of the Ready Grant. So that money has been received. So we're just appropriating those funds to be spent for this project. So I don't know if you recall, but there was a development Cold Summit that we were looking at as part of this site. And they were supposed to have, they were supposed to help with the cost of this project. They were not able to, that has not come to fruition. We don't believe it will. And so we were able to get some grant funds that are actually was more than what they were going to contribute anyway. But there's still some additional funds that were needed. So the total amount is $753, but only 100,000 of that would be funds that would be coming out of our account, technically.
Any questions? Need a motion to approve Resolution 2025-09 for $753,678 for expenses and costs related to the extension of Graham Road.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, moving on to other business. Krista, the December 2024 financials.
Get that brought up. Give it a second. Kind of slow. Okay. Let's see. So these have been updated with the actual disbursement amounts that were received in property taxes. So our revenue in that was received in June for May payments was higher than we anticipated, but our revenue in December was lower than we had anticipated. So it kind of averages out. There's a bit of a difference. It's about a $200,000 difference lower than what we had hoped for based on what we received last year. So I'll need to check into that and check with Jeff Peters to find out, and with the county to find out if maybe somebody hasn't paid. That could still be coming in, maybe just late. But there is less than we anticipated. I can show you here, there are some other small grants and interest income on our investments. So the revenue year-to-date was $131,945. And then these are listed here, what we just covered in those resolutions. So these monies have been received. The $213,000, which was for the Earlywood and Graham project, that's listed there as income. $750 from Whiteland, that is listed, that has all been received. They made 3 separate payments, but those are all complete now. And then Johnson County's contribution, $675,000. And then the Graham Road extension, the ready reimbursement, those funds have been received of $653. So you can see our receipts for this year were $6,831,868. Expenditures for the year were $7,016,353,000. Which would leave us with a cash balance of $4,336,000. But we still had some appropriations remaining of $1,450,000. All of these did not get spent through the end of the year. So when you see the January report, you'll see the new resolutions and some of the old resolutions will fall off. So this cash balance of 2.8 is basically what isn't appropriated, but it's not actual cash. Of what we have. And so then all the resolutions below have been updated through the end of the year to show you what's actually been spent out of them. So here you'll see at the very end, Resolution 24-10 for the fire suppression system of $75,000. So that was what we just covered with IOZOs. That was not paid out in 2024. So that will come off, and then you'll see the new resolution on the January report. Are there any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, this is for the US 31 TIF district. So our beginning cash balance and then receipts through 12/31. These came in pretty much as anticipated. They were just a tad lower, but just a few $1,000s lower. So these are the actual amounts. $195,773 for the north allocation area and $195,088 for the south allocation area. So this TIF district in 2024 brought in $828,000. We spent $637,359. which would leave us with a cash balance of $671,307. But we did have some remaining appropriations, just of $64,000, which left us with a cash balance of $607,042. And that one is pretty correct. The only real carryover would be the US 31 project of $26,000. The other two projects are complete, and so that $37,000 will not be expended. And then you'll see the new resolutions for next year on the January report. Basically, our bond payment is $590,000 of the $637,000 we bring in a year, so there's not a lot of wiggle room there. Actually, I'm sorry, it's $828, so we have about $300,000, $200,000, $240,000, there we go, that we can spend per year outside the TIF bond. So I will be using, I know you'll probably notice that the cash flow analysis is not listed here. I wanted to verify these numbers and see what those discrepancies were about a little bit before I plugged all those numbers into the next 5 years on our cash flow. And then I also needed to confirm the investment amounts that were, would give us our starting balance for the year. And so I've got that now, but I didn't have that Friday. Some of those have grown with interest and those kinds of things. So I will get that cash flow updated today and email that out to you with those new numbers. Any questions?
Thank you.
Nope. You don't need to, yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Krista. Public comment and announcement. The school board had a change, and at our next meeting, we will have a representative from the school who is on our board.
Yes, and that is Deb Gill. She contacted me last week, so I'll be getting her some additional information. She's not able to join us this month because she's in Cabo. So let's all feel sorry for her today. But she will be here at the February meeting, so I'll try to get some information together and spend some time with her and kind of get her up to speed on all things RDC before that time.
Our next meeting is February 18th at 8 a.m. Mayor?
So welcome to 2025. We're looking for great things. The weather is great outside. I love it. One thing that I just wanted to point out as we was going through the resolutions here, I'm kind of proud of this. There's about $4.5 million that's on that list that's either been grants or partnerships with the county and Whiteland and with Malarkey, and that's what makes us work well here, Franklin, is how we partner up and try to $4.5 million into our coffers here to help with our infrastructure. It's a pretty big thing. So thanks to you guys for the work you do. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mayor. Dana?
I think we're continuing with the grants theme. The Public Arts is working on a grant to get new art downtown. We're going to be replacing the stars that were in the Art Craft Alley. They've outlived their usefulness. They are just no longer, they're not fit to hang up right now. They're getting really kind of raggedy. So we're going to be looking at putting in kites, using school colors, some city colors, having them glow at night with the clock light and all that kind of stuff. It'll be really different. So yes, that should also be paid for. We're looking at 2 grants, so we won't have to pay anything to replace that.
Great. Amanda?
It's been a quiet start to the year, which is typical, and so we hope to see projects start to ramp up as the first quarter moves on. We're going to be continuing our site selector marketing campaign. We did 93 meetings last year with site selectors, just connecting with them and giving them the rundown of all of the assets and touching on particular sites here in Johnson County. And we'll be continuing to do that. I sent
busy year.
It has been, so that's been good, so.
Thank you. We have one of our city council, Todd. Do you have anything to add?
It's great to see all of you. I just want to see how this RDC is ran, and it looks like it's in good hands, so. kudos to you guys.
Thank you. Amy?
Yep, here representing FDC, and love to hear all the good things happening. Thank you.
Hey, we appreciate what you're doing. Rob, some help with downtown and the theater.
I've got some year-end numbers that I wanted to share with you. When we were taking a look at our best year ever, it was 2019, right before the pandemic, and after that, everything kind of went downhill. And then we got hit with a tornado, and that was over $200,000 in damage. But the bright side is now we have, this past year, we have overcome all of that. And so our regular film attendance was 42,695, which is pretty amazing considering all of the other theaters across the country are not doing this well. And our total attendance is 64,414, and that is a new record for us. And when I say total, that means bingo that we've added. It means knit at night. It means author events, which are getting bigger and bigger all the time. Also, we have corporate parties there and field trips. And so the place is busy so much more than it used to be. And I'm constantly getting asked by the Jane Rhodes of the world, what the heck was going on last night? And it's just more and more events. And that's what we really enjoy. The other part of it is with these author events is people are coming from a very far away. Just this last week, we had people from Michigan, from Kentucky, from Ohio, from Illinois. Our biggest one last year was actually a live podcast and some fairly famous folks on the stage. And we always check zip codes on that. And there were 13 different states that people flew in from to watch this live, and almost every zip code in Indiana. So it was a packed house, 600 people. And it looks like we're going to be doing even more of those with Wild Geese, because more publicists are coming to the Art Craft and wanting something like that for their author events, as opposed to standing up in a bookshop or going to a 200-seat expo or something like that. So this will be good for the town. It'll be good for that end of Main Street and pretty much everybody downtown. So just wanted to give you a heads up on where we're at, and we've finally gotten over the 2019 hump.
Well, thank you. I've got one question. The author series, will you be publishing a list or dates? Because I only got to see one last year, and it's pretty interesting.
Actually, all of those things will now be going on our website, so everybody can see all of the different things that are going on, because there are so many different kinds of events that are happening even during the day. And then our next big thing is on February 1st, and that is our sponsorship party. And that is where we roll out the new series of all of our movies and cartoons and all of that. But that's what helps pay for the programming so that we were able to bring that many more people. And I believe last year we had 80 different movie titles, which is also a first for us. So we're going to keep going on that.
Any other questions?
Just make sure you get your tickets for the sponsorship party. I'm doing my vice president role of Franklin Heritage right now, so it's always a fun event.
And Krista does that vice president role very well.
Thank you. Not going to put any of you on the spot, but Kathy, Katie, Matt, anything you'd like to add?
We're getting close, that's.
No, we are nearing the finish line. Our staff is all hired and they've been training up at our North Indianapolis location. And so as soon as we get the green light from the certificate of occupancy and the health department, we're going to be ready to go. So we're hoping, if not by the end of the month, first week of February.
Hope you're open for Valentine's Day. And as a tidbit, I bought the,
I'm one of them, I want to reserve.
I bought those gift cards at Christmas when they had the show downtown, and I gave them to my neighbors around, and they all asked when, and I said, well, the first of the year. So they're all excited and waiting to come to, they don't want to use them up north, they wanted to use them in Franklin.
That's right.
Okay, thank you, guys. Les, I'll give you a pass. Paul, Ann,
No, just looking forward to 2025, and thank you for your vote of confidence as vice president.
well, thank you. I think we have a good team here with our RDC. Josh?
Nope, nothing.
Krista?
I don't have anything
Alan?
else.
Thank you, everyone. The meeting is adjourned.